Trade-in of the week, brought to you by Best Buy.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
I'm going to Best Buy to trade in Brink and Forza 3 for a Best Buy gift card.
Cool, man.
So I know you've got all these opinions and stuff about Bastion, but I just couldn't help but wondering what you were thinking in terms of the score.
I'm leaning towards C+ for this one.
Really? Because you know, the music and stuff like that is really quite good. I don't know if you.
No, I did like the music. You're right about that. And
there's you know, there's all the different weapons, how they're all different and stuff like that.
These are all very good points for me.
There's all the and the narration stuff. I mean, how many games have you played that have
I love that
done that sort of thing? And I mean, there's the art style. It's
yeah.
You know, just for your consideration.
Right.
Is all I'm saying.
We have a review.
Sounds good.
So Bob.
Yes.
I hear you enjoyed that Bastion game.
I really enjoyed it.
Tell me why.
Well, it's because of Greg's story, number one. Mainly, well, I like the story, but I also like how it was told. Because a lot of games these days, not just these days, but in general, they're really overwritten. And I really like the economy of your storytelling and the way it's told, that it's not really obtrusive in any way. So I really appreciated that on like a gameplay level too.
Cool. Thank you very, very much. That's really good. That's really good to hear.
And I hope more people follow your example too, because, like I said, the stories in games can be really obtrusive, and yours did not interrupt my play at all.
So that's enough ass kissing, I suppose.
I think so.
But you had a few complaints, maybe. Why not an A+? That's
why not an A+?
Not
maybe
enough $1 bills.
Because maybe a little too much focus on combat and not enough of other stuff, but. I don't know, the combat, there was just so much variation in it and so many choices you could make that were meaningful that it didn't really detract from my experience too much that there was nothing but combat.
Right.
So if I had one complaint, that would be it. Just like there weren't a lot of puzzles, there weren't a lot of hidden areas. It was fairly straightforward, but I did enjoy what I played, so it's only a minor complaint.
Is the story stronger than the combat? Is Greg's part stronger than the people
I worked on
here?
we all worked on everything. So.
I think the combat, it is fairly straightforward and it's not too complex, but the choices you can make are pretty varied and you can make it as complex or as simple as you want, which is something I appreciated. And I think the story does outweigh the game itself a little bit just because of the choices that Greg made and the way it's told. It's just something I think more developers should follow, that sort of style.
Well, thank you.
Especially Kojima.
Less is more.
Right, and if I could ask Greg a question about that, was that a direct response to sort of the bloated narrative in a lot of games that we've been seeing lately?
I mean, I think the whole game, in a lot of ways, is a response to how we feel about RPGs and action RPGs and stuff like that. We felt the whole genre was kind of underexplored. And yeah, I mean, we wanted to, it's like, I love when games have strong stories, but then it was really important to us to never interrupt the play experience for the sake of the story either, because a lot of people just don't care or don't think they care or just want to keep playing. And we wanted to support that kind of play style also. So eventually the narration turned out to be like a solution to those kind of pretty different sounding goals where at first it was kind of a head scratcher because how do we have a story but never interrupt the player?
Right.
So if Bob won't criticize your game, how about you do it? What are you worried about? What do you think people are going to look at this game and be like, oh, maybe that wasn't quite what I was expecting?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I think you never know what someone's play experience is going to be overall. Like we made the game that we wanted to make, and we're really happy with how it turned out. But especially like with the story, I think, and the whole experience of the game, I think giving the audience like a lot of credit to try to interpret things and so on. You don't know if people are going to get lost and stuff like that. If they're going to kind of follow, if you'll be able to catch them during the logic leaps of the story and things of that nature. So I'm really sort of dying to see how people take that, like if they get stuck anywhere and stuff like that. The whole like ramp of the game was really, really important to us, making sure that people always felt taken care of, like they knew what they had to do to proceed. That's part of the reason why we didn't want to have like puzzles and stuff, is like we didn't think we could make puzzles that wouldn't just stump people, and like since it is a story-driven game, we want people to be able to keep going and not get those like frustrating moments where you just want to find out what happens next, but you're stuck.
So you think the puzzles, if a player was stuck, the story would just kind of fade from their mind, or did you want to keep them on the same track where there'd be constant narration and nothing really interrupting that?
Well,
is that part of it?
Well, I think getting stuck in games is just like fundamentally really frustrating. So we didn't want it to be the sort of game where you like just hit a wall and didn't know what the heck you were supposed to do next. And we felt that we could focus on combat and make that feel really good as an action RPG. Is just like focusing on those interactions and making those feel really good, and stick with that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm anxious to see what everyone has to say. I'm definitely I don't know what to expect.
What will you be doing tomorrow morning when the reviews go live?
I'm gonna be hitting refresh on the internet. You better believe it. I mean, I care, especially given my background, I care a lot about what people have to say about the game. And I'm just very, on a personal level, just very interested in the types of experiences that people are going to have. Because we did make it pretty open-ended in terms of how people could play it. So the moment you sort of unlock it in that way, you're kind of, you don't know how people are going to go through it, and it's kind of a leap of faith on our part, I think. So.
Okay, final question. You mentioned you made the game you wanted to make, but we hear a lot of people trying to get into Summer of Arcade specifically need to kind of like rush or kind of cut corners or anything like that. Was there anything that came close but didn't quite?
No. The one thing that we were for a while there, we were worried that we wouldn't be able to get our New Game Plus mode to the place we wanted it to be, but one day we all like kind of looked at each other. We're like, what the hell are we doing? We like New Game Plus is awesome in games, and we're just gonna hunker down and make it happen, and we did, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. But I mean, above all, I hope the game feels very complete and self-contained, like there aren't any kind of, that nothing about it feels half-assed. I mean, that's exactly what we were going for. Some people might say like, oh man, how come you don't have co-op? Because I love playing Diablo in co-op, but I think once they actually play the game, like they'll see that even that doesn't necessarily, I think, fit into what the design of the game is. So.
Last chance to throw some shit out there.
God, all I have are good things to say. I'm sorry.
Last thing to apologize for.
In theory before Bob was.
We should have made a worse game. Then this would be a more interesting interview.
Well, yeah.
Come on.
I apologize for making a game that you have no complaints about. No.